Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast on the internet. Because it's on the internet, I can't go and do this in person yet. We're working on that. But sitting down with my buddy, Mr. Mango Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Good, man. Good. It's a
Good.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yes, it is a good Sunday. We're hanging out at the beginning of February, if anyone cares when we record these. But hey, we're having a good time. We're going to talk about shooting, talk about you. We're going to have a good one. So anyway, for some people probably who don't know you, who are you and how did you get into shooting?
Well, yeah. My name is Mike. They call me Mango Mike for some odd reason. I was in a Mason Lane class in Chase. Was in there, and I had mangoes for snacks, and they called me Mango Mike, and I shared all the mangoes for everybody. But anyway, it kind of like it that became my nickname. How did I get into shooting? I always like to shoot. I think a lot of the Filipino guys like to shoot, but growing up in the Philippines, never really couldn't afford to do all of that, or can't even afford to buy my own concealed carry pistol. So when I got here in the States a long, long time ago, uh, got myself a gun. It was a revolver. Imagine that, and enjoyed shooting, but I never really got into shooting like really like more into it until like 2021 when COVID hits. And it was like a weird thing, like all everybody kind of felt weird on that situation. So I started contacting some tactical guys, do some defensive shooting, and then by 2022 I started. Josh Spinoza is like one of my guy that we trained together, and he got into like competition shooting before I did, and he got me into it. So, and that went from there into passion of learning the sport and understanding how the sport is actually done. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So you said when you kind of got your first gun, you got a revolver. What kind of led you to a revolver in the beginning?
Because at that time, I grew up, revolver was kind of like, like I was saw it on the movies, the cowboys with the revolvers and all that stuff. And I thought it was like, it was like one of the guns that people would own because striker fire at that time, because I think I bought my first gun. Well, I came here in the States in 1992, and I bought my first gun, I think, back in 1997, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the revolver. It was like a freaking, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. Either a Smith and Wesson or a Taurus, but it was like a 9 round cylinder revolver. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's one of those guys. It was like a 357 Magnum 38 Special revolver. Big old 6-inch barrel.
Right.
But yeah. And then when I shot a 357 out of it, it was like crazy and like, what the heck? And then I traded it for a Glock.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. The plastic fantastics always are
Right. I
coming
still
into
have that
style.
Glock, by the way.
Hey, nothing wrong with still having a Glock. I mean, you were shooting Glocks until not
Yeah.
a couple years ago. You
Mhm.
finally
Yeah.
switched
It
over.
was my first, USBSA um, pistol. Basically, it's
Mm-hmm.
my Glock 17, and
Mm-hmm.
then went to the 34, and then messing with Glocks and all this other stuff. And I went from just getting really overzealous and making the Glock work. And when it finally worked, and I switched to Canic. So
Yeah. So so like you said about that revolver, and then you eventually traded it for a Glock. And then you kind of went out and eventually got tactical training. You went
yeah.
and sought out that track. What drew you to go out and get that kind of training?
Um, like I said, when COVID hit, and it became that it was just that weird feeling, like people were acting weird, and I needed to somehow learn how to use the pistol properly and safely without hurting anybody else and myself. So I went sought out my I work in a hospital,
Mhm.
and my guy that I knew, he was telling me about like some, he's doing some defensive. He took a defensive class with this doctor, and so and he was in a hospital as well. So he gave me his number, so I called him up, and it's the name of the company is Condition Red Response here in Fort Wayne.
Mhm.
So I called him up and I said, "Hey, I'm a nurse here, and I wanted to learn how to use my pistol safely and all that stuff." And he said, "Yeah, we got a class coming up. Signed up." So I signed up, and I even signed up my whole family. Like my girls, my wife. We all went because me and this doctor, we just kind of clicked right away because he kind of like felt my passion about this new lifestyle that I'm getting into.
Mhm.
And then after the class, like a month or maybe less than a month, he called me up and said, "Hey, Mike, you're really good at what you do, and I appreciate you. And we want you to be." He said he wants me to be in his team. Like, what team? Like he wanted me to be part of his, like the team in his class to like uh, safety range officer, that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So I got involved in a safety range officer and do all that stuff with the program, and was really into like tactical. And I got Josh into like all these drills and shooting, and we were out there in the range like winter time and doing all this crazy tactical stuff. And then Josh got into um, the competition. I think he was working at Wrigley at that time, and then he met somebody named Archie, and Archie like introduced him to competition because Josh is really like good, and,
Mhm.
and then Josh got me to like, "Hey, we should try this competition stuff. You're gonna like it." I was very like optimistic. I mean, not optimistic. I was kind of like, "Nah, I don't know about that, dude." No, I wasn't optimistic. I was the opposite of that. I was like, "No, not really, man. I don't think that's really gonna work for me." But then when I tried it, it's like it took one match, and it's actually here in our my local area here in Harlan,
Mhm.
and that was it. I was hooked. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's always nice to see it. It's always good to see the fact that other people bringing each other into the sport. Getting training and whatnot. And it's good. Like I said, you signed up your whole family for that training from Condition Red
Hmm.
Response. Because that's the next step, right? Protecting yourselves and your
Yeah.
family and your loved ones. Getting that, going out and deciding that you needed training
Right.
is a huge step, and a lot of people don't even take it, which is kudos on you. So when he asked you to be on his team and whatnot, what did that all entail for you? I mean, I know you said like a range safety, but have you done how much teaching have you done with him?
Um, I'm well. I've taken instructor classes that we've hosted a lot of instructor like Brian Hill, Greg Ellifritz,
Mm-hmm.
all the tactical guys, John Farnham, um, but I don't have an instructor kind of credentialed. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
an actual like going to an instructor class. The instructor class that I'm taking is like what do you call that? Like a kind of like an instructor. It's not the program. It's like an instructor type of like, let's say a performance class for instructor, like
Mm-hmm.
Jedi Modern Samurai Project, like
Right.
taking his instructor class for uh, Pistol Red Dot. So I have those, but as far as that go, like when I'm in the when we have classes, I help as far as like the safety range officer, but I can I can coach minimally as far as that goes because I don't have because the owner of the company is very like into legal stuff. He doesn't want me teaching per se, which I don't mind. I mean, I don't want to get into the teaching at
Mm-hmm.
all. I mean, right now, but I like to coach people. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the other problem that I have. Being I get too involved in coaching, and I'm still kind of new to the to the game, and because it helps me also. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of I have to like back away from that every now and then, because like there are a lot of guys that I shoot with are still kind of still newer compared to me, and then I start coaching them, and then I don't get focused into like my game plan, and
Right.
it can distract me from it.
Yeah, that happens a lot too. Like myself, my wife just got into shooting her. She shot her first match, and I'm more worried about how she's doing or whatnot instead of kind of focusing on my own
Hmm.
game plan per
Yeah,
se. So that's always the challenge I've been finding is now trying to blend the balance between
yeah, absolutely.
my shooting and making sure she's doing okay. So I definitely understand that too.
Yep.
When it definitely comes to helping and instructing, I'm kind of the same way. I like helping the new people out,
Hmm.
but yeah, definitely makes your own shooting or your own plan suffer, especially at a competition where you're like, I've got 5 minutes to look the stage over, and then
Yep. Yep.
you're helping them, and then like, oh, Mango, you're up to shoot. I'm like, what? What,
Right.
what do you
Like
mean?
what?
What do you mean I'm up to shoot? I haven't done anything
Exactly.
yet.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So when you got into shooting competition, said Josh kind of got you into that, right?
yeah.
So how far was Josh along before you kind of jumped in?
Oh, not far. He was like maybe like a couple months ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah, because he started at like the end of 2021,
Yep.
uh, and he went to like Lima, Ohio, where Sam is. So he
Yep.
started shooting like a winter match over there, and then he started like in I think it started in December or January, and then February, and then by March, our local here started, and that's when I went. That was March of 2022, and
Hmm.
my very first match there, my guy that was the doctor that got me into his team. He when I told him, hey, I'm going to a match, like a competition match, and he went with me. He wanted to support me, and he was so happy, dude, because like on that match, like because like I was kind of like he was training me, he was teaching me all this tactical stuff, defensive pistol style, and his one thing to his main coaching to me was just shoot. You already know how to shoot, and just shoot your sights and get alphas.
Hmm.
Dude, I have the highest alpha in that match, right? I had like freaking, I don't know, dude, like 120 alphas or something like that, and like I was in the bottom. I mean, I wasn't completely on the bottom. I was like, like in the middle,
Hmm.
and I didn't understand how in the world was I not like at least in the top 10 when I had all them alphas, right? Like maybe I had like maybe 9 or 10 Charlies, right? And the
Right.
rest of these people have like 80, 90 alphas, have so many Charlies and beat me because I did not understand the game. I was just like, I just wanted to shoot all alphas.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's one of those things too. Like people don't understand about hit factor, right? Like,
right, right,
yeah, if you have all alphas, you get all the available points, but you take 10 seconds, and somebody
right.
shoots it with
Mm-hmm.
half Charlies, half alphas in
Yeah,
5 seconds, they're gonna win because
yeah.
the time weighs so heavily in it.
Oh, yeah. Time is points,
But
like,
so you would say when you started, you were a turtle then.
oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, I was still trying to. I mean, when I look at the video, I laugh at myself, but I was not completely a turtle. I tried to like move fast because I was seeing like Josh and Chase Williams. I don't know if you know Chase.
Yep, I do know
Yeah,
Chase.
yeah,
I need to talk to him at some point.
yeah,
So I know Chase listens for the most part. So Chase,
yeah.
this is I'm gonna send you a message, buddy.
Yeah, so Chase actually the guy that nicknamed me Mango Mike, but
Yeah.
he was like he was going to Harlan, and when I see Chase, I'm like, man, this dude is fast, like he's just fast, and that's when I realized that it's not just alphas that will win you the match,
Hmm.
like you can throw some deltas, some Charlies there, and if you're fast, if you can make the time from starting to end, yeah, you're golden. So and then I started like really getting into it, like like gosh, dude, I had tendonitis in my elbows for like a year of. dry firing, practicing my grip to make sure that Glock does not like jump out of my hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. When I first started,
Hmm.
yeah, I had the tennis elbow pretty bad,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, that practicing reloads all day long.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
I
get
mean, they're
really.
fun and cool to show. Like, I mean, you've probably heard of Rob Epifania, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
does crazy fast reloads, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
no,
I've
I
talked
can't.
to Rob. Yeah, he's showed me some pointers. I've actually shot with him in Kentucky, uh,
Hmm.
the following year, like 2023, and
Yep.
and that's when I met him, and he showed me his very very cool guy, man. I love him. He's down to earth, very nice guy.
Yeah, he just smacks reloads. I'm like, no, I'm not good about standing here and smack. I mean, I shoot open now. I don't have to worry about doing a bunch of. I still got to be proficient in doing reloads,
I know.
but I don't have to be that like methodical about doing
Yeah.
reloads anymore.
I know. I mean, I figured out my standing reload is about a second and a half now.
Hmm.
Like just if you're standing reload, but when you're moving, that's even it's longer than than your usual standing because you're actually moving.
Right. Well,
So,
yeah, and yeah, if you think about it too, like we took that Tom class, right? And he, talks about importance of getting bullets in the gun, right?
hmm hmm
And that's so big is like just remembering the cue of okay, I know I need to reload now, so I need to go for that magazine, get it back up into the gun because you can't shoot without bullets.
yeah.
I don't know how many times I've gone through stages. And it's like, oh, I'll just get my mag
hmm
now, and
hmm Yeah.
but in this lackadaisical, nonchalant way of doing
Yeah.
it. But,
Yeah.
but yeah,
You really have to train. I really have to train my brain to like function different in a match because some for some reason like dry fire dry firing training, like if I'm training out there by myself, like yeah, I'm smacking those steals like boom 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 1 for 1 on steel, my reloads are 1.5, all this other stuff. Then it
hmm
comes to match time, it's like for some reason there's like, why is there, I mean, a difference when it's match time? I'm still trying to figure that out. Why can't I perform on my training as good as my training during match? I mean, I know that that's probably a rookie question, but I'm still trying to figure that out. Like I can do a but sometimes I do it. It's just inconsistent. The inconsistency part is like really higher than the consistent part. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. When the thing is, we're good shooters, right? We both know we're good shooters, but
Hmm.
it's that consistency of doing it 100, 10 times out of 10, or even 9 times out of 10,
Hmm.
comparatively to like 50-50 or 60-40,
Hmm.
is building that consistency into our game, and being able to
Yeah.
do it on demand. Like,
Hmm.
one thing I've found that I've really enjoyed is like, oh, somebody messes up, so I get a reshoot. I'm like, all right, let's go, because I know I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go for repeating that performance. It's not gonna be a hero zero. It's just like, okay, paste it up, let's go. I hate doing. I'd rather do a reshoot right then and there.
Hmm.
I don't want
Yeah.
to go back to the end of the line. I'm like, nope. Paste those targets. Let me grab 2 mags. This is a benefit of all. Probably having a lot more mags than you need for a match and
Yeah.
always ready to go. So you're like, all right, let me just
Yep.
grab 2 things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but yeah. So I guess where I was. So you said you took that Mason Lane class was your first class.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I'm assuming you were classified by the time you took that class, right?
Yeah. I was a C class.
Okay, C class, carry optic
Mhm.
shooter. And you were still shooting Glocks.
Yep. Shooting
Okay.
blocks. Yeah.
Yep. Now, okay, let me back up a little bit. How much you said you finagled with it a lot? What'd you do to that thing?
Oh man. See, I before I even started shooting, I was, I understand how to, strip the Glock completely.
Right.
And then when I started shooting competition, I was trying to make the Glock have a better trigger feel, not have that mushy trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I put like all different kinds of trigger. I did the Glock store trigger, the pyramid trigger.
Yep.
That had some weird stuff. It made the gun kind of like sub fully automatic. Like, "Whoa," like, no, got away with that. Got rid of that. And then finally got into the Timney, and then Timney trigger, put it on the Glock. And then I was trying to put like a different connector to make the Timney even, because I thought by putting all of these components to make the trigger soft and all this stuff, that I'll be a good shooter.
Mm-hmm.
uh, because that's the a lot of this rookie mistake that we make. Like, we think that the gun is going to make us B class or A class and that kind of stuff, which is because on if you know me well, I'm the kind of guy that once I get into it becomes a passion of me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I become passionate about something. So right now is the shooting. Like, it's become a passion, right? So I build the Glock to my capacity, that it will make me a really really good shooter, that I can beat people, the ones that I've been chasing. Um, and and then it became a disaster, because every time I change, like, the negative connector, and then I changed the recoil spring. I put a pure tungsten guide rod with a recoil spring. I'm lightening the spring so the gun doesn't do all these felt recoil. But
Mm-hmm.
then I didn't put into consideration, I was doing bad to the gun, because now the gun is not chambering. I mean, it's not making the round chambered in completely.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a stage where I became like, one of those, like, boom, rack the gun, boom, because yeah, it became a bolt action gun. And all the people that shot with me that day, Chase, Josh, all the guys that shot with, they remember all of that stuff. And because of the striker fire spring is still very heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't change the striker fire spring, and then changing the weight of the recoil spring, it doesn't make the gun chamber in around completely. So then, if I started changing that, and then I started changing the striker spring, then of course, and I wasn't shooting like reload guns that Tony made, so I'm shooting like store bought ammo, of
Mm-hmm.
course, and then my striker is not completely firing the round, so I'm getting a lot of light striker. So it's just a combination of all of that stuff, like a big rookie mistake, that I'm just trying to, instead of just shooting the gun stock, which Chase was keep telling me, dude, just keep it stock. Everybody's telling me just keep it stock, shoot it stock.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't listening. I was spending a lot of money and making the gun work. And it finally worked. I finally figured it out, but it was too late. I'm already like, now I'm switching to Canic, which Canic I did not change anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And the trigger is really nice, and that's what I've been using, and it hasn't really gave me a lot of headache.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, if I how do I say this right? But yeah, no. I was also a little bit. I like to tinker with my Glocks, but I
Hmm.
didn't go nearly as far as you did.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of things.
Yeah, like I think I put a tungsten guide rod in it with a 15
Uh-huh.
pound recoil spring, a
Yeah.
Glock store thug plug for a little bit of brass in the back,
Hmm.
some vicious
Yeah.
grip tape on the darn
Hmm.
thing,
Yep.
and what else? Oh, I did put the Timney in it. Mine
Hmm.
was a Gen 5, so mine I put a Timney in it. I cut the frickin' I did everything I could. I cut the like the left-handed person's slide release.
Hmm. Hmm.
I cut that
Hmm.
right off the gun.
Yeah. 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 Because it's Gen 5. Yeah.
Yep, I
Yeah.
cut
I
it,
know
and
what
it,
you
yeah,
mean.
because it was just was rubbing too bad, and it was having issues. I'm like, oh, this gun
Yeah.
runs if this doesn't
Right.
exist.
Exactly. You can actually put a Gen 4 slide without it,
Hmm.
because right, and just but on a Gen 5 you can put a Gen 4 slide, but you have to have a Gen 5 barrel.
Yeah.
It'll work.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
But yeah, so I did so many. But because I had an early season match. I think what was it 2020? Was it 2022? Yeah, 2022 when I finally like settled down and picked a place to shoot. Um, I shot, and then the we did a fixed time. We first time ever did fixed time. I shot one round, and then it wouldn't cycle, so I smacked it in there, and then all the time was gone because it was a super fast fixed time, and the
hmm
gun just didn't run.
man,
But
I didn't know you
but
shot lock, dude. I thought you
yeah,
always shot open. You ever
no,
do
dude,
an
I
open
couldn't
block?
afford that until I couldn't afford that until I got 20. Beginning of 2023, I had my open gun, but
Uh,
I mean, yeah, we didn't really shoot or hang out at all until then. But yeah,
right.
I shot carry optics before I went into open.
Yeah, I met you when I started going to Brooklyn.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that
And then,
place, I like that place. The range is really nice. The people who were there helping me run, I was doing matches with, they were always nice, and we got things done.
mhm.
The range, I mean, you can't ask for a better range when it comes to like all the bays are right there. You just
I
got to
know,
walk to them.
I know.
The only crappy part, you can't put steel on one side facing the road, but you could have every other stage have all the steel you want. You know,
I didn't even know that. I was, yeah. Hmm.
yeah, but no, yeah. So we talked about. All right, now I'm going to dive back into the Mason class. So you were C class, you were shooting your Glocks, they're all souped up.
Hmm.
You took the Mason class. What
Hmm.
were you expecting to get out of that class before you went?
Before I went,
Yep.
nothing because I mean, I was expecting. I mean, I heard about Mason through the guys,
Yep.
like, dude, this, and this kid is like, what, he was 22, 23 at that time.
Yeah, he was pretty young. He's still
Yeah,
pretty.
he's young. He's young. So I'm like, man, okay. So I wasn't. I mean, I was just excited to be in a class that is like a GM and like that's win back to back national championship. I didn't do a whole lot of research about the guy, but Josh did. He's kind of like drooling over Mason. Uh,
Yeah.
so I just went and I wanted to get better. I wanted to be able to be competitive for the guys because I was like, actually, I felt like, I'm the kind of guy that, like, if I'm in your squad, I want to be at least somewhat like somewhat competitive to belong here. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just here for fun. Like, I get really involved in being competitive. So and then when I took the class, I was really like, I was just trying to absorb all his information and all his techniques and all that stuff, and it was good, man. I mean, that was like a really good feeling after a couple of days of class with Mason and practicing all his drills and all his other, I mean, his techniques and applying it, and then shooting the match, and then I got better and got B class.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how quick after that Mason class you hit B?
I can't remember. I think I was really close to B class already
Hmm.
before Mason, and then after Mason, I got B class. And when I did like a lot, we went for like a classifier match in our uh, local area, and I got B class, and then I just kept progressing. I mean, I didn't. And then I got A class in carry optics like pretty right away,
Hmm.
which now I probably, if I have to turn back time, I wish I would have stayed in B class.
Oh, so you could be a B class winner.
Yeah, because dude, it's like I was pushing myself because that, to me, like that status of like a classification status was like means more to me than like winning, like. And it's one of those, again, this is like, if you rookie shooters out there watching, like, don't do what I did, because if you really want if you really want to succeed in this thing, the classification is really nothing, right? I mean,
Hmm.
heck, you can be a C class shooter, and if you're really good at your C class, I'm not saying you'd be sandbagging. I mean, if you're worth a B class, then be a B class. But I was worth a B class. I wasn't really A class. I pushed myself to get into A class, just to get into A class,
Hmm.
and then competing with these guys on A class that's already like almost like a master level people.
Hmm.
There's no way for me to win A class. And then I realized, man, if I didn't really push myself to be A class and be in B class, I probably would have a chance on, like, third place, second place, that kind of stuff, or maybe even first. Who knows? So anyway, yeah. So I mean, I didn't regret what I did. It's just one of those things that you kind of like look back and like, man, why did I like push myself? Because I was like, well, by the end of this year, I want to get A class. Like, but then it's really not that.
Right. Well, there's some merit to this part of the conversation, right? So, like Fluffy and Wes, right? Ken
Mhm.
and Ken and Wes, all right. They're like, oh man, I'm not ready to be B class. I'm like, guys,
you're good enough to be B class. You just need to get out of your own heads and just
Right.
shoot this
You've been
class.
shooting for a long time. Yeah.
Shoot classifiers like they're stages. Don't even worry that it's a classifier. Just do what the stage says, and you're gonna be fine.
Uh-huh.
And they finally got it out of their head. So Wes made B class. Ken's almost there. But when it comes down to it, I mean, shoot to your level of skill, right? Like, yes, in some people, that's all they care about. They don't care about major match performance. They just care to have a letter next to their name. And that's absolutely good pay value. Like Anderson talks about pay value all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if that classification is going to give you pay value to train and go out and shoot matches, I 100% approve of it. Now, there's the guys like me who want to win my class and get either a match bump or shoot above my percentage at a major match against real people, right? So, like, I got lucky, and I mean, you're lucky all the time since there's so much heat and carry optics in their actual GMs and, you know, big level GMs, not just like, you know, people who make GM that, you know, don't always, they're not consistent. You know, they're GMs, but they're not consistent enough to always win.
Right.
But, you know, when you're shooting against like Tom Castro, Mason Lane, and all those guys, that's where the it's really worth it.
Yeah.
But if I could, like my goals, I've got my own goals of if I bump out of my overclass, but I'm looking more for my percentages and my performances at major matches is really what I'm caring about. Because that letter is going to change. Although open classifiers are like the old ones that all the stand-in shoots are retarded. Like a carry, if I moved myself to carry optics and whatever runs I had, as long as the hits were good, they were decent. They weren't anything crazy. But if you're looking at open classifiers, it's like, Lord have mercy. You just have to do it so fast and so accurate. Well, you always got to be accurate, but you still got to be super fast. But
I know.
So you bump to A class, and that's what a lot of people do. You know, if they're able to bump out at B, or get through B, they're able to get into A relatively easy enough. Because some of the classifiers are nicely aimed for that, but it's also like you're already shooting at that level. When like if you're fighting in that classification system, you're already at the level to be there, right? But I do understand, you know, spend your time in B, be really competitive. I mean, B is like the largest range of shooters in the country. You know, everyone's like, there's a lot of people in B. Not a lot of people get A, M, and GM, but it's hard when you're fighting against those really guys who should be at the next level, but they're stuck in whatever class they're in. So say you're in A class and you're shooting against a lot of master level shooters who are stuck in A class because they don't either shoot enough classifiers or whatnot. But
and you know, it seems like A class is kind of like, for me, it's hard to get out of because you screw up like one classifier and it's gonna like decrease your percentage, you know, and it's like you're kind of like in that between of like you really have to just send it, like every classifier you just have to send it to get out of A class, and you know, because you already know all the fundamentals, you already know all of the, you know, your index and all that. When you're an A class shooter, you already know that, but it's just doing all of that, performing at that level, and don't worry about, you know, like what's gonna happen. You just have to send it. I mean, like, but then for me, when I do a classifier, and it's always like, you know, like if I care too much, it's always gonna end up not well. But if I don't care, then it's like, wow, that's an M class run.
Yeah, or you don't care. My always thing is like the last two classifiers I've shot have all been vision. You know, the bad performance has been vision based, right? It's not looking at that finite spot in the alpha zone. It's like, oh, I'm on target, whack whack, right? It's like, oh, why am I looking at the Charlies or the Charlie Delta line? That does me no good,
right?
And that's where they come from. It's like the trigger speed was fine, the vision was good, but it was like the transition vision was good, but not looking at the right spot.
Vision focus, money.
Vision focus.
Yeah,
the good old Juancic thing. That's on a T-shirt, I think, too, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a professor.
Yeah, Professor Juancic.
Yeah,
that's one person I don't think I would. Not that Juancic doesn't teach good material. How he delivers information is not for me. I am not that analytical.
Right.
I am much more of a Ben Paste guy than
exactly.
a Juancic guy.
Yeah. it's the same thing too. Like Mason Lane. Sometimes I have a hard time really like understanding
Oh yeah,
his
because he's so
point of view.
analytical, right?
Yeah, he is very analytical, dude, and he doesn't get excited very easily. Like he could talk like this is like the biggest moment that he's gonna say, and he's just so calm about it. He's just like me. Like I speak with them with my emotions. I don't know. That's just how I am. Like if I'm really passionate about something, like my voice gets louder, my hand starts moving, like my my face turns red. I become dyslexic. Like words are just kind of jumping all over the place. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there are people like Tom Castro is like I get him. Like him and I like I totally get what he say, and
Hmm.
then I can understand like because he speaks, he teaches, he coaches with feelings, and that's how kind of I am. That's how I learn. Uh, like Mason, I'm not dogging Mason at all. I love the guy. He's my first instructor, and I really appreciate all the knowledge. But he is just sometimes I have to really like. It takes me a while to understand. I just have to like do his technique, even though I didn't understand what this technique was all about. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I just kind of like, okay, all right, what's the all of this like drills that like to me it's like okay, I'll do it, but it didn't really click onto me until after about few months of
Hmm.
understanding what he meant by that, like trigger control at speed, like what is that for, like like why, like those kind of things. But I mean, I, I get it, like everybody has a different way of teaching, but and everybody has a different way of accepting their coaches as well, and it's like you have to kind of find the balance there.
Yeah, you do have to find the balance. You got to figure out what's good for you, what's gonna work for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
A lot of people's, not everyone is for everybody. Like I said, Juan Sick, great instructor, great
Hmm.
mind, not for me.
Right.
And as soon as people figure out what's for them, that's the key to figuring it out.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if you find one guy that clicks for you, go ahead, take every class from them.
Yeah.
Um, Not that I wouldn't tell people to go out and develop and find new instruction, but if it works for you, I 100% agree with you. Go do
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
because always learning from other people that you don't click with is not going to be helpful.
Oh
But
yeah. I mean, I took Tim Herron class as well. I took a Tim Herron after Mason Lane.
yep, Tim's a good dude too. I
Yeah.
appreciate him.
I
He
mean,
kind of
he's
got me on the same. He got me on the good path, right, to
yeah,
figure
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Tim's got a lot of meat into the sport, and don't let his size fool you.
I'm jealous though. I'm very jealous of his home
He's new.
range now,
He's new. Yeah, he's new
where
stuff.
that he can host matches at because
I
he's just got
know.
that much
I
space. It's
know. I was gonna say like if I live in where is that at? Is it Albuquerque?
Yeah, right out. Yeah, Stanley, New Mexico, right out of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Um, the only really true reason is I want to go to a Los Pollos Hermanos, but that's because I loved Breaking Bad. Did you ever? Did you ever? Did you ever watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul?
No. Mm-mm.
What?
No,
That's
dude.
like one of
Dude, I
Tim's.
haven't. It's me. Like I have since I got really into the shooting sport, I
Hmm.
have not done. TV does not entertain me anymore. Like I hardly watch movies. I hardly watch TV. Like a lot of.
I end up watching TV because or finding a show to binge watch with the wife because it's something we can do together.
Mhm.
Just kind of like I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like dry firing right now. Let's watch some TV or something. And
Yeah, yeah. See, my wife is into this Korean, uh, Korean movie soap, whatever the stuff. So it's like, but
yeah, I
yeah.
mean everyone's into their own squeeze. It's just I've had to figure out ways to spend quality time
Oh,
because
absolutely.
this sport does like it takes up
Oh
so
yeah.
much time of your
Hmm.
life.
Hmm. Yeah,
It really is because
yeah. I mean, like
we're
today,
always gone.
after my IDPA match, and I just met these people, right? They're already like invited me, like, hey, you want to come out lunch with us? And I mean, this is like the nice thing about this, like the camaraderie in a sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have lunch. I'm like, no, I gotta go home. It's Sunday. I gotta like spend some time with my wife and kids because I've already taken a lot of my time into this shooting, and I got to drive an hour and a half to So I'm like, oh, okay, okay, gotcha, understand. It's yeah, I totally get it, man. It's you have to budget your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people forget too. Is like,
Mm-hmm.
spend the time with your family before you don't have them, right? Like before you don't have them, but
Yep.
I can't tell everybody how to live their life either. But absolutely. But let me get back to it. Where were we at? Oh, so yeah, here we go. So you've taken all these classes. What is your training like? Do you go out by yourself normally? Do you try to go with everybody else, or what?
Um, right now, just well, let's say last year, we like it just I go out sometimes with other people. The very first time when me and Josh were training all the time, like me and
Mm-hmm.
him were like just train, and did we get anything out of it? I don't know. Like we were just so excited to just send rounds the range, right? It's one of those like first year in a sport. We just
Mm-hmm.
out there even on the winter time. And then last year, kind of off and on. Josh, he got busy with his life too. So, and then with other people, I've trained with one of our guy here that has like his private range. So we go there, and sometimes we do a two gun as well with Riley. Riley Fox. He likes to do the. You should invite him too. You should. I don't know if you know Riley. He's a PCC guy.
Yeah, the guy he
He
likes to
just-
take pictures.
yeah, he likes to take pictures. He just became GM. But we do like our 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 rifle and pistol kind of thing. But for the most part, really, right now, what I my plan for this year is just do like my dry fire is not as crazy as what I was doing before. Like I barely do dry fire now. I do like maybe a 10 to 15 minute dry fire, maybe 3 times a week now, because a lot of this is just like I already know all the fundamentals. I just gotta like keep it sinking in my head, and then
Mm-hmm.
my training is gonna be basically more of like like once a week going to like these level one matches. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like my plan because of financial stuff. I don't want to like burn all the money that I have, like what I did last year, where I spent like thousands and thousands and rounds of ammo in training.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's another thing that a lot of the new guys, if you get into this sport, if you don't budget your money wisely, it can go really fast.
Oh yeah, definitely can go
It
really
can go,
fast.
yeah, and then you're like, whoa, what the heck did I do? Like, so you have to kind of be careful on that one. But I'm the kind of guy that I have to test everything and experience it, and then before I learn from it. So that's that's what happened. So yeah, this year mostly, if anything, if I'd go out to the range, it's probably just gonna be me, because schedule wise, right now with everybody is so much um, different now. So, but if I get to shoot one local match a week, mostly on the weekend, which I have Hillsdale, which is an hour and 15-20 minutes away from me. And then I have Wasion, which is another hour and 20 minutes, which is like in Ohio. And then I have
Mm-hmm.
my local match, and then yeah, and then maybe Brooklyn. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So those, I'll just use those as my training time, and then for majors, and then that's really pretty much it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's good, and it is good the fact that you are, trying to budget yourself out and figure it out for,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. That's why I came out today, just to get some trigger time, because I can definitely tell there's still that little bit of flitches there that I need to fix. When I get hesitant to make that shot when the sight is already there.
right, a little bit over confirmation on the
Yeah,
sites,
I
and
mean, it's not much of an over confirmation. It's just like, yeah, I guess it is over confirmation.
mm-hmm.
Like I hate to call it over confirmation because I'm trying not to over confirm my sight. So it's like when I see my sight, it's kind of like in the vicinity of the alpha zone. Just press that trigger. But sometimes the brain has so much clutter, and I'm trying to declutter the brain to just do the things that I'm supposed to do once I'm on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found that, like, got this thing where, like, clutter is like the number one enemy of efficiency. So, like, even if you're efficient enough with your technique, but if your brain is so cluttered, it's gonna affect your technique. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. If you're not be able to mentally focus, kind of just
mhm.
like everything shut off.
Yeah.
One thing I found that I've been trying to do lately is kind of hype myself up. I shot with Tom at Buckeye Blast in 2023,
Hmm.
and he kind of did his thing. He warmed up, he ran and jogged around a little bit,
Hmm.
jamming to his music. I'm
Hmm.
trying to get myself more hyped and warmed up, kind of in that regard.
Hmm.
You know, Still kind of being cute, cool as a cucumber, but also, be know how to get the hype on or get the blood flowing to be like really ready to rock and roll. So
Yeah.
I'm not lethargic of the first stage, right?
Right.
That's especially coming off like in the winter when it's kind of still cold outside, but you're kind of having to wear a jacket, but you need to take the jacket off, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
You got to find ways to be able to keep
Oh yeah,
yourself
man.
amped and going. But
Yeah. It's amazing how much mental uh, game that you really have to put on in this sport. It's like
mhm,
it's so easy to say you just go out there and shoot, right? But then when all of that is here, especially when a person is very competitive,
mhm,
even a non-competitive person will have like mental uh, cloudiness that and then their vision gets, there's like they see a trap and then their vision like sticks to that trap and not into the target. um, and then in a split second it costs you a match. It's just one of those things, like the mental part of this game is so huge. It's so huge. I mean, you could be a really really good shooter, but if your mental game is not there, it can knock you over.
yeah, it honestly, it truly can if the mental game's not on lock.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I've seen people win or lose it. Like, they let that one thing affect them the whole rest of the day. They can't let it
Hmm.
burn it off.
Yeah,
I've seen
exactly.
people like they've let the first stage jitters get to them, and then it's just a dumpster fire after that. And then
Yeah.
you can tell you physically bothers them. You know.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
because they're very competitive.
Now,
And I
do you find, speaking of competitive, do you find yourself to be super competitive
Oh
with
yeah.
others,
Oh
or are
yeah.
you more competitive with yourself?
Both. When I say before, when I used to say, I'm just competing against myself, that's a one way of saying that I sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's an excuse, really. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, let's be honest, right? We're all going to a match to compete, each and every one of these guys, and I want to kick their asses, right? Like, I want to kick their butts.
Mm-hmm.
But if I lose, or if I felt like, I'm getting intimidated by all these GMs here and this master, like these people are like, super fast, then I'm gonna say, I'm just competing against myself. And it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like one of those excuses that we make to ourselves. And I've done it many times. But yeah, man, it's hard. It's one of those things that being a very competitive person is like, it can go both ways. It can
Mm-hmm.
go against you and it can also go with you if you do it right. If you're being competitive and put your mental game into the competition and to the game, and to the sport itself, it will do you well. But if the competitive part is gonna like screw you up because you're so worried about it, and then it becomes again, it becomes a clutter in your mind, like you're worrying about other stuff because of your competitiveness. Like like what if, like all of those what ifs, like what if I do this, like why am I even thinking that way, like. So those were like all my rookie mistakes that I just kind of like splurge out there. But right now I'm
Right.
trying to just go shoot my match, shoot the what I know, and don't worry about what I don't know yet, like especially the end part of the stage. Like, I'm already worried about like what my hits are going to be when I haven't even shot the targets yet.
Right now, um, yeah, absolutely. When you're competing for yourself and you're thinking about the mental game of the
Hmm.
month. Now, were you? Did you play sports when you were younger?
Not really.
Okay.
And that's why this shooting is kind of like a big breakthrough for me. Like when like I grew up in the Philippines, Manny, and I didn't come here until I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we were not, we were kind of like, we were not poor, but we were just enough to get by, so we don't have enough funds for like sports and activities, like like a lot of the kids that grew up here. So I mean, I played sports, but it's not like one of those like I played sports like like street basketball, that kind of stuff. um, we have our little games like when we were kids, like marbles and all that stuff. I was very competitive. I was winning a lot of stuff, but it's not like the sports that you talk about. Like if kids here go to like they have a baseball game and they get involved into a baseball game or soccer or basketball and that kind of stuff. But
Right. Well, and the reason I ask that is because, a lot of people didn't come up from a competitive background, and then they find this and they've got to confine the competitiveness, right?
hmm
So, but then there are some people who, grew up playing sports and were very competitive and very good,
hmm
and or they're having issues with the mental side because they thought they were so good, and then now they're
hmm
doing this and they're not as good as they'd hoped
hmm
because they had that past experience of, being good at
gotcha.
sports.
hmm
But
yeah.
but that's always different how some people like, I competed in high school. Like I was a competitive swimmer, right? I did my thing.
hmm
Um, did I think I was the best? Did I think I was good? Yes. Could I have given up things because I didn't try very hard? Yes. I was good to a point, but I was also not willing to, back in
hmm
high school, go the extra miles
hmm
to, be the best as I could be on that. Like,
hmm
did I not have the best diet in high school for, my sport? Yeah, I was a terrible eater. My
hmm
coach, my coach always bitched at me because it's like, hey, you need to stop doing this, and you need to do this, and I'm like, I don't feel like it, so I'm not gonna do it. But
right, right.
but I could have been so much better if I actually followed all the routines and the plans. I could
Yeah.
have been even better. But no, but this for me is I'm very very competitive with myself as well.
hmm
But I see where I can go and where I am and where I've came from, where I am and where I'm going. So that's the, you know.
yeah.
Now, speaking of that, do you ever go back and watch your like really old videos?
Oh yeah, dude. I watch it and then I just kind of like, sometimes I just like, sometimes I laugh and sometimes I just bite. Like I would have to make this face like I'm like just kind of like grinching and doing all like, man, like ooh, like like ooh, just just watching old videos. But it's good to watch old videos and see where I'm at right now. Like wow, like okay, that's a big difference. Like even like the minute stuff, like stage planning or like even like a drop step from here and there. It's like, well, what did I drop step there? Like I used to drop step all the time. Like why am I drop stepping right now? Like I shouldn't be drop stepping at that part. Like so, yeah. Just
Hmm.
watching old videos really help as far as like, because I'm like being like a coach to myself when I see my old videos and just try to one thing that I'm really bad at though is trying to like, I know people like write things down
Hmm.
and I don't write things down. I'm very lazy with writing, and I'm so lazy I try to put it all in here, and
Hmm.
that's how I kind of function. Because to me, like writing is like a waste of time. But I there's some people likes to write, but
Hmm. Yeah, my like keep like people keep a training journal, right?
like
I
as in
am not one to really write things down. I would be much more to pull out my phone and record another video of me talking to the phone about
hmm
something right
hmm
then and there.
hmm
Um, because I can't reading it again.
hmm
I guess has power, but I'm also not one to watch my own videos back either. Like this, like other than in editing, I won't watch this because it's in here. But I'm not gonna. I don't analyze the conversations like I should. But
hmm
like the past. But I'm real with myself. So like writing something down might leave a better note. But I'm not a writer. But I'm much more to pop my phone out and do that. But it never gets rewatched again. But
But
unless like I.
do you
Hmm?
watch your shooting video though?
Oh yeah, like I'll watch my shooting video. Like I'm not very good at coaching myself, but I can see
Mhm.
the things I'm like, okay, this could have been better. What I really like is like if another good shooter's on my squad, I'll watch them. But also if I can get video of them, the best part is I've got that sky cam typically in the air,
Mm-hmm.
so like I can leave that running for the most part if like the shooters are like right around me,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can get that video too
Yeah.
instead of being like lost in La La Land.
Right.
So then I have comparable video. And that's always the hard part too, is when you're comparing videos. Interesting too, because sometimes you don't always shoot the same plan.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, thank goodness for like phones nowadays that we can record ourselves. But
Phones that are better than most cameras like that you buy. It's crazy how good the phone cameras
uh
are now.
right. So
Yeah. So, Mike, last year you worked with me. You were working under me at your first major match.
yeah.
Working a major match at Buckeye Blast. You did
Yeah.
really well, and I was really proud. And I've told a lot of people in this sport who work matches and whatnot that you did really good, and I was really impressed. So I was really
Thanks.
glad to see you go get your RO this year, RO cert
Yeah.
this
I
year.
already got it. I passed my test and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after what 30 tries on the old thing, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, what major matches are you planning on volunteering at this year?
Yeah. So I already signed up for Michigan sectional with Chris,
Yep.
and then the Area 5 and Buckeye Blast.
Okay.
I applied for nationals, and I already have that off for my schedule. And I don't know if uh, the people that run the nationals would pick me. I hope they would. I mean, if I just yeah, I really enjoyed working in major matches. It's like you see a lot of people. I enjoy meeting a lot of the guys that are really good shooters, like the GM and the pros and all that stuff. So that kind of helps to kind of like build rapport with them, and but yeah, I enjoyed it. And yeah, I remember when I first uh, volunteered for Buckeye Blast when I was with you guys, you and Fluffy, and that was really awesome to be part of that, because you guys taught me, and I was trying to absorb everything that you guys have taught me. And then when I took the RO class with Gary, I I think Gary was probably like annoyed at me because I was already like like kind of the guy that kind of knows a little bit of most of the every command and all this stuff already. But
Mm-hmm.
but
Well, and
yeah.
that's good too, because there's some people who won't run a timer until they've taken the class, and then there's the people who have ran the timer or who've worked major matches before, and they just
Hmm.
need to get that check mark off the box,
Hmm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think he likes it both ways, right? One where no one's tainted and you got to fix them,
Hmm.
but then you've got the guys who've got the experience who then can talk about things that happen, that he talks about in class. Like,
Yeah.
I've experienced this, so then other people can relate. So,
Yeah.
like myself, I sat through another RO seminar that, I'm a CRO, but I sat through an RO seminar.
Hmm.
One, my wife was taking it and she was sitting in the front, but I was sitting in the way back
Right.
but
Yeah.
they're good classes to sit through. I mean, like,
Oh
especially
yeah.
since the curriculum has changed from the time that I took it
Hmm.
to the time that you took it.
Yeah. Well, heck, I
But,
got the whole freaking, like, I've even made a binder of, got all the rules here,
oh yeah,
even
like
though it's already in the app. But I got really, I mean, this was like, I did that like last year. I needed to learn the rules and stuff, but there's so much in there to know in the rules of the USPSA. And sometimes it just gets a little bit overwhelming, but, you know, um,
yeah, I definitely understand the overwhelming part. There's a lot of rules and a lot of different scenarios, and it's like,
mhm,
take it one breath at a time. If you feel like you made the wrong call, we can always look it back and feel about it.
mhm, yeah,
You know, there's there's always that doubt, right? Oh,
mhm.
did I make the right call, or should I have DQ'd? I DQ.
That's
I
the
called them
hardest
for,
part.
but and there's always a thing. It's like, if you didn't feel like 100% right, and then your
Mhm,
guys say they saw it or didn't, if somebody
mhm,
can verify or disprove it. I mean,
yeah,
well, and a range staff. I shouldn't say a shooter, because the shooters are always going to help their buddies out the best way they can.
mhm,
But as long as the stage staff be like, no, this didn't happen. I'm like, okay, we can turn it
yeah,
back. We can get them back in. They can get a reshoot. No big deal.
yeah.
You know?
That's and the hardest part about being like knowing all, I mean, not all, but knowing some of these rules and passing the RO test and being an experienced RO is that when you shoot to some of these like local matches, even like higher level 2 matches, and then there are guys that are not RO certified, right? And then they're calling bad shot or bad calls, and then you have to kind of like wait, and you're trying to correct them, and then you're trying to explain to them, and then it's like, and they think they know, but yet they're not really certified RO. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I had to point some of that out before, like, no, guys, like, but I don't want to be the guy because I don't know. I just get so like passionate about the game that I don't want to be a hypocrite. You know what I mean? Like, if this is what if I speak the speak, if I talk the talk, I better walk the walk, right? Like, just because like I know you, then that mean I I have to that you can get away with like some bad calls. Like, I think it has to be fair because sometimes again this sport is very like we have to build in trust and integrity.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You got to build the trust and integrity. You got to know. And the cool part is you build a cool network, right? You met a lot of cool people
Oh yeah.
working that major match.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many cool war stories from the old guys
Hmm.
that you can listen to, and sometimes it's just like, just shut up. I don't need this rallying. Like, I like you, but like you can shut up, or I need to go away, because it's
I
like
know.
they will sit there all night drinking
Like,
whiskey and just bullshitting, and it's like,
I know,
just
dude. That was, yeah. I mean, how did you like man? You must have read my mind. Like,
mm-hmm.
like hanging out with the guys out after a match, and then you're like, wow, I'm being baptized here with all kinds of like inside politics and what's going on, and I'm just like hearing all this stuff. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Or like some people make some bad calls and like, maybe let's not get into that, but
Yeah. Well, and then you ask, hey, did I make the right? They'll always if you give them all the facts, they're gonna tell you if you messed up or not, right? So I
yeah,
mean, that's the worst thing you could do, right? Not ask. There's always
yeah,
you
yeah,
can always you always are learning, right? There's nothing, no one's
absolutely.
ever perfect on that. But yeah. So when it comes to major matches this year, I will be at Buckeye. I will be at Area 5. I
Mhm.
am shooting with you again for Michigan. I had to withdraw from working the match. My little sister, my baby sister, she's getting married that same weekend. So
Oh, okay.
and I got asked to be a groomsman, so I'm kind of on the hook. I can't
Yeah.
bail out of her. Well, one, I could never
No,
bail
no,
out of
that's
her
a
wedding,
yeah, dude,
but
that's
I got lucky. I'm shooting with you and Fluffy, and John Royer from Outdoor Dynamics is coming up.
mhm. Nice.
His family lives in Michigan, so it's always good to see John.
Yeah.
Um, in that regard, so that's always cool. But shooting with you for Buckeye, shooting with you for Area 5.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll see you there. Hopefully we'll work together. I don't know what Corey's got planned for stage assignments, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I've got a couple more questions because our time's almost up for the evening, but I got a couple more questions that I feel I have. Oh, this is always somewhat. I steal this question from David Riddle, the Casual Shooters podcast, and it came from Jay Beal originally. But what is your make ready?
What is my make ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You get called to the line, and I tell
Hmm.
you, make ready.
Well, that depends on you're asking me from before or now or
Right now. Yep. Right now.
right
What
now.
did? Yeah.
Well, my make ready now is like I try to be ready before that make ready is even um,
Mm-hmm.
called to me. So when I know that I'm on in the hole, so I try to separate myself. Sometimes I would listen to like music to kind of relax myself, and I'm trying to like memorize the stage already. I'm in the hole, and then when I'm on deck, I'm already like putting my my pro grip on, putting my camera on my headrest so I don't forget anything of that. I'll grab my phone. I already know the guy that's gonna, handle my video camera and all that stuff. Make sure all my mags are all loaded to capacity and all the mags are there. As soon as I get called to the line, I will just take my time, basically, to just kind of memorizing the stage again and do some few reps of the trigger press, and then just remember that sight trigger, and executing, like how I would execute. Try to remember everything as far as I can at that moment, and then once I do some transition, like trigger press, transition, visual, vision, just picking a spot on each target, mainly the center of the target, right? So I'm trying to remember what they look like. Uh, and that's basically it, man. I mean, it's try to relax as much as possible, take a deep breath. And I always, like on my video cam, I have this, you hear that? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I press once I press that camera on top of my hat, put my hands down, and I'm just gonna respond as fast as possible when I hear that beep,
Mm-hmm.
and just go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's good as well. I like when people are prepared, ready for the line. You know, they do their vision. They work they work that trigger. They do the vision.
Mm-hmm.
There's always good. And I like listening to how people process and analyze and articulate how they do their make ready. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how much how much detail you've got in it. Shows how much kind of detail you have in the stage. I know myself, like when it comes to my visualization, my visual reps, my
Mm-hmm.
visualization reps of the stage, I've got to be better about. All right, I got to think, look for the spot in my vision. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in my processing of my
Yeah.
stage. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna run here, shoot these targets. No, it needs to be. I'm gonna, draw. I'm gonna do my see my dot here. I'm gonna do a transition to here. I'm gonna do a transition to here. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
see this dot lift. I'm gonna trigger break exit on this, and I'm gonna do my thing, and then look for the spot on the ground, do the crash, and then move on.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Those are the things that, and here's the thing too, though. Like, I'm still trying to make my make ready once I'm in that line, like as consistent as possible, as my same as make ready on my previous make ready. And so far, there are some times that I'm not consistent with that, especially when I think that, oh, this is an easy stage. Like the easy stage are the ones that always get me too. Like
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of like got overly, like, I overestimated the stage, or I underestimated it, basically, because I'm like, I don't need to like do a lot of my transition, visualizing on this one, because I already know where the targets are. I kind of like, okay, I just press my trigger, that, put my gun down, and then I just kind of like, I didn't do like the typical make ready, because I'm so excited to shoot this stage, because
Mm-hmm.
like I already know this stage. I'm so excited to shoot this. I've seen it. I've done it. I've seen it from other guys. That's the same stage plan I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
then before you know it, you're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. Yeah. It's always those simpler stages that get you on the the
Mm-hmm.
mental prep. That's the ones that hurt because
Yep.
you lose time or something happens and it's
Hmm.
you throw it out the window. But oh good lord, there it goes. So currently, like, who are the people, like, I guess, who are your, if you have any sponsors or partners, go ahead and share them here because this is the good spot for that. So
Hmm. Well, the guys that, I don't really know, like, I mean, like a true sponsor, but the guys that I work with, Condition Red Response, they're the guys that kind of help me with, getting me into the shooting and stuff. And he did sponsor my match for nationals last year.
mm-hmm.
And Tony with Summit City Bullets, he's helping me out, so that's, wearing his hat. So I'm really happy that I get to know Tony, and he's a very nice guy, and he works with you. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are my two main ones. And I have like a couple of guys that are like own a local store here, but it's kind of like not really. I don't know yet if they're really like full pledged gonna help me out. I mean, they helped me last year with, little bits and pieces, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's all good, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have to know them all, but yeah, anybody who helps is always a good one. Just like the people, below this video, the guys who help support the podcast, they're all awesome
Mhm.
people, and I believe in them, and they believe in me, which is always nice too, right? So,
Yeah.
Mango. So, if people wanted to get a hold of you on the internet, where's the best place to get a hold of you at?
Oh yeah, I'm on um, Facebook and Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel as well. I'm trying to put like some content in there with my shooting. And sometimes you don't see shooting in there, like just like some vacation stuff, but mainly shooting. It's Mango Mike. It's yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's spelled Mang. It's like Mang, and then another G, like Mango Mike. So
Yeah. Yeah, because somebody else already had Mango Mike, I'm
right,
sure.
because somebody already had Mango Mike, so it's like okay, I'll just put Mango Mike. But yeah, that's
Mango
me. You can
Mike.
yeah check me out. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, brother, I do appreciate you hopping on with me and doing this.
yeah,
And I
man.
think even though you think you're a nobody, I mean, people like to hear from people they don't know
Right, I'm
about.
like Manny, really? You want me to do a podcast with you? Like, I don't know, but
Yeah, no, but here you think about it, it's always good. It's always fun. I love
yeah,
talking to different people, and people love hearing about these experiences. So thank you for coming on. People,
thank
please
you.
go check out Mango Mike. Go
Yeah,
check him out.
yeah.
Talk to him if you got him. See if you see him in a match, fist bump him, tell him hi. But listeners, like I say every show, get out and do the things. I will see you on the next one.
All right.